Ever have one of those moments where your heart just feels wide open? Like you're really connecting with someone, or maybe you're just overwhelmed with gratitude.
Yeah.
Dr. John Demartini calls these open heart moments.
Mm.
And in this deep dive, we're going to explore the fascinating brain science behind them
Right.
with the help of our expert.
Okay.
Get this. There's actually evidence suggesting that during these authentic moments, our brain activity can actually sync up with the people around us.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that these moments aren't just fleeting feelings.
Right.
They actually point to something deeper within us,
Yeah.
our core values.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little.
Sure.
Dr. Demartini talks about this interplay between different parts of our brain.
Yes.
The prefrontal cortex, which he calls the thriving part,
Mhm.
and the subcortical areas like the amygdala, which he links to survival.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break this down for us? How do these areas affect our authenticity?
Well, it's like this. Imagine your prefrontal cortex is this wise CEO making thoughtful, strategic decisions. Then you've got the amygdala, which is like this vigilant security guard, constantly scanning for potential threats.
Yeah.
It's constantly labeling incoming information as either prey,
Yeah.
something good to pursue, or predator, something to avoid.
I see.
Now, this is super helpful when we're in actual danger, but in our everyday lives,
Right.
it can lead to some pretty skewed perceptions.
So is that why when I see someone else's amazing vacation photos online, I suddenly feel like my life is dull and boring?
Yeah.
Like my amygdala is yelling predator.
Yeah.
Everyone else is having more fun than you.
Exactly. That's your amygdala in action, overemphasizing the positive in others and potentially triggering that predator response. And here's the thing. When we get stuck in this comparison game,
Yeah.
we can lose sight of our own strengths and accomplishments.
Right.
Dr. Demartini says this can lead to feelings of shame
Shame.
or inadequacy, pushing us further away from authenticity.
Oh, I've definitely felt that imposter feeling before. It's like you're constantly trying to measure up, but never quite feeling good enough.
Mm-hmm.
How does that connect back to this whole prey and predator idea?
Well, think about it. When we exaggerate the positive in others,
Yeah.
we often minimize ourselves, labeling ourselves as prey.
Prey. Oh,
On the flip side, we might try to boost our own ego
right.
by exaggerating our positive qualities and downplaying others.
Uh-huh.
That's the predator response in action, leading to pride and judgment.
Pride and judgment.
Both extremes create imbalance, preventing us from seeing ourselves and others clearly.
Yeah, it seems like we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to be better,
Right.
do more, achieve more.
Yeah,
It's easy to get caught in that trap of comparing ourselves to others.
absolutely. And this imbalance doesn't just affect our thoughts.
Okay.
It has a real impact on our bodies, too.
Mm.
Remember those prey and predator labels?
Right.
They trigger specific responses in our nervous system.
So what actually happens in our bodies when we're stuck in those imbalanced perceptions?
When we perceive something as prey, our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in.
Okay.
That's the rest and digest response.
Okay.
On the other hand, when we perceive predator, our sympathetic nervous system activates, triggering that fight or flight response.
Right.
Both are crucial for survival, but neither is ideal for achieving that sense of balance and inner peace that we associate with open heart moments.
So we need to find a way to get out of that constant fight or flight mode.
Exactly. We need to find a balance. Think of it like this. Imagine your brainwaves are like an orchestra.
Okay.
When we're stuck in either extreme, the music is chaotic and discordant.
Right.
But when we can see both sides of a situation, acknowledging the good and the bad,
Mm-hmm.
the positive and the negative, the orchestra comes together in harmony.
Mm.
Our brain activity becomes more balanced and focused.
Yeah.
And that's when we experience those aha moments, those bursts of insight and connection.
And this is where the gamma synchronicity comes in, right?
Yeah.
That's what Dr. Demartini calls it.
Yes. Gamma synchronicity is like a surge of electrical activity in the brain.
Mm.
And it's associated with those moments of clarity and inspiration.
Okay.
It's fascinating because this synchronicity can actually happen between people, too.
Wow.
When someone speaks from a place of true authenticity, their brainwaves can actually sync up with the people listening.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So these open heart moments aren't just about feeling good. They're actually linked to these powerful shifts in our brain activity.
Right.
It makes you wonder what else is possible when we tap into this state of authenticity.
It's an exciting area of research. What we're starting to understand is that these moments of authenticity aren't just random occurrences.
Right.
They're powerful indicators of what truly matters to us, revealing our deepest values and passions. It's like our heart is saying, this is what resonates with me. This is what I believe in.
That's a powerful thought, and I bet you're wondering, so what does this all mean for me? How can we cultivate more of these open heart moments in our own lives?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we'll explore next. We'll dive into some practical strategies for shifting our perceptions,
Okay.
balancing our nervous system, and tapping into the power of authenticity.
Stay tuned because things are about to get really interesting. We'll be right back after a quick.
Okay.
After a quick.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back. Before we jumped into the break, you were teasing us with some practical strategies for cultivating more authenticity in our lives.
Right.
We've talked about the brain science and those open heart moments.
Yeah.
But what does that look like in our everyday lives?
Yeah.
How can we actually tap into this power?
Well, you've already started to see how powerful it can be just by becoming aware of those prey and predator responses in your own life.
Okay.
It's like shining a light on those automatic reactions and starting to understand how they might be shaping your perceptions.
So the first step is simply noticing when we're falling into those imbalanced patterns.
Right.
But then what? How do we actually shift those perceptions and find that balance?
Well, one technique you can try is consciously reframing your thoughts.
Okay.
For example, let's say you're scrolling through social media and you start feeling envious of someone's success. Instead of getting stuck in that predator response thinking, they're so much better than me.
Right.
You can try reframing it as, wow, it's inspiring to see what's possible. I wonder what steps they took to achieve that.
That's a great point. By shifting our focus from comparison to curiosity,
Right.
we can actually learn from others' experiences without feeling threatened.
Yeah.
It's like turning a potential predator into a mentor in our minds.
Exactly. And here's another powerful tool, gratitude.
Oh, gratitude.
When we focus on what we're grateful for, it helps to balance out those negative perceptions.
Okay.
Next time you're feeling overwhelmed by someone else's success,
Yeah.
take a moment to list 5 things you're grateful for in your own life. This simple act can help shift your brain from that predator mode to a more balanced state.
I love that. It's so easy to get caught up in what we lack.
Right.
That we forget to appreciate all the good things we already have.
Yeah.
It's like taking off the prey lenses and seeing the abundance all around us.
Now, remember how we talked about the fight or flight response? That's another area where we can consciously intervene.
Okay.
When you notice yourself feeling stressed or anxious,
Right.
try incorporating some calming techniques into your daily routine. Things like deep breathing exercises,
Okay.
meditation,
Yeah.
or spending time in nature can help to soothe your nervous system and bring you back to a state of balance.
It sounds like it's all about creating space for those rest and digest moments throughout the day.
Yes.
Instead of constantly being in that go, go, go mode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you start to cultivate more balance in your thoughts and your body, you'll naturally start to show up in the world with more authenticity.
Okay.
You'll be less reactive, more present, and more aligned with your true values.
You know, it's funny because we often think of authenticity as this grand, expressive gesture, like quitting your job to pursue your passion or making some bold declaration. But it sounds like true authenticity is actually cultivated in those quiet, everyday moments, how we react to challenges, how we treat ourselves and others, the choices we make when no one's watching.
You're absolutely right. Authenticity isn't about putting on a show.
Right.
It's about being true to yourself in every moment, big or small. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you practice aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your core values, the more effortless it becomes. It's like you're building a muscle, strengthening your ability to show up authentically in any situation.
And that authenticity has a ripple effect, doesn't it? I mean, think about the people you admire. Those who radiate genuineness and inspire you to be your best self, I bet they're not trying to be anyone other than themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Authentic people are magnetic. They draw others in, not because they're perfect, but because they're real.
Yeah.
They embrace their vulnerabilities, and that allows others to feel safe doing the same.
It's like they're giving us permission to be ourselves, flaws and all. And that's incredibly powerful. But how does that translate into influence.
Okay.
Does being authentic actually help us make a difference in the world?
Think about it this way. When you're truly comfortable in your own skin, your confidence shines through. You're not afraid to speak your truth.
Right.
To stand up for what you believe in, to share your unique gifts and perspectives. And that's what inspires others to follow your lead.
So it's not about forcing our ideas onto others.
Right.
It's about letting our authentic self shine through.
Yeah.
And trusting that it will resonate with those who are meant to hear our message.
Precisely. Authentic leaders don't command and control.
Right.
They inspire and empower. They create space for others to step into their own authenticity.
Yeah.
And that's how real change happens.
This is making me think about those open heart moments again.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just revealing our values,
Right.
but they're also showing us glimpses of our potential impact.
Right.
It's like, hey, this is what lights you up. This is what you're meant to share with the world.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
Those moments are like signposts pointing us toward our purpose. The more we pay attention to them, the more clarity we gain about who we are and what we're here to do.
So how do we cultivate more of these moments? Is it about meditating on a mountaintop or something?
You don't need a mountaintop. While quiet reflection can be helpful, it's really about bringing that same awareness and intention to your everyday life.
So instead of rushing through our to-do lists,
Yes.
we could pause and ask ourselves, what am I truly feeling in this moment? What matters most to me in this situation?
And then, most importantly, aligning your actions with those feelings and values. It might mean having a difficult conversation,
Okay.
setting a boundary, or finally pursuing that passion project you've been putting off.
It sounds like courage is a key ingredient here. The courage to be vulnerable,
Yes.
to speak our truth, to make choices that align with our authentic selves, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging.
And that's where resilience comes in. When you're grounded in your authenticity,
Okay.
you're less likely to be swayed by external pressures or opinions.
Right.
You have this inner strength that allows you to navigate challenges with grace and determination.
It's like we're building an internal fortress, brick by brick, with each authentic choice we make. And that fortress can withstand even the strongest storms.
Now, remember what we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
How authentic people leave a mark on the world.
Right.
Think about all the artists, writers, musicians, and innovators throughout history who dared to be different.
Right.
Who embraced their unique perspectives and shared them with the world. Their authenticity sparked movements, challenged norms, and inspired generations.
They weren't afraid to be vulnerable, to show their flaws and imperfections.
Right.
And that's what made them so relatable and influential. It's a reminder that authenticity isn't about perfection.
No.
It's about connection.
Yes.
It's about sharing our unique gifts and perspectives with the world, knowing that even our imperfections can inspire and uplift others.
And that brings us to a crucial question that I think each of us need to consider.
Okay.
If authenticity is the key to unlocking our full potential and making a meaningful impact, how can we consciously create more space for it in our lives?
Right.
How can we curate our lives to be more aligned with our values and passions?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
And I have a feeling you're about to give us some thought-provoking insights on how to answer it. Stay tuned, because we'll be diving even deeper after a quick.
Welcome back. Before the break, you left us with a big question.
Yeah.
How can we consciously create more space for authenticity in our lives? I think a lot of us struggle with that.
Right.
Because we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us who to be and what to do.
It's true. We're surrounded by all these external expectations and pressures that can make it hard to even hear our own inner voice.
Right.
It's like we're trying to fit into this mold that wasn't made for us. And the more we try to conform, the further we drift from our authentic selves. So the first step is to become aware of those external influences and how they might be shaping your choices.
So you're saying we need to take a step back and examine the messages we're absorbing?
Yes.
Whether it's from social media, advertising, or even the people around us.
Exactly. Pay attention to how you feel when you're exposed to these messages.
Do they make you feel inspired and empowered? Or do they leave you feeling inadequate or anxious?
Right.
Once you start to identify those influences that don't resonate with your values, you can start to create some distance.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like decluttering our mental space.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the noise that's drowning out our own inner wisdom.
Right.
But it's not just about filtering out the negative, right? It's also about actively seeking out experiences and relationships that support our authenticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about the people you spend the most time with.
Okay.
Do they encourage you to be yourself? Or do they make you feel like you have to put on a mask?
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people who celebrate your unique qualities and support your growth.
It's like building a support system for our authentic selves.
Yes.
A tribe of people who get us.
Yeah.
Who appreciate our quirks and imperfections.
Right.
Who inspire us to be our best selves.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the people in our lives, right? It's also about the activities we choose. The books we read.
Yes.
The music we listen to.
Right.
Even the places we visit.
You're getting it. It's about curating your life to be more aligned with your authentic self.
Right.
Choose activities that bring you joy and make you feel alive. Explore your interests and passions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to try new things and step outside of your comfort zone.
It's like we're creating a personalized roadmap for our journey of authenticity.
Yeah.
Choosing experiences that nourish our souls and help us grow into the people we're meant to be.
Exactly.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that this journey isn't always easy.
Right.
There are going to be moments of doubt, setbacks, and challenges along the way.
That's true. Authenticity isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process.
Right.
Of self-discovery and growth.
Okay.
And sometimes that growth requires us to face our fears and step outside of our comfort zones.
So how do we navigate those challenges and stay true to ourselves when things get tough? What does resilience look like in the context of authenticity?
Well, resilience is all about bouncing back from setbacks,
Okay.
learning from our mistakes, and staying committed to our values even when we face resistance.
Right.
It's about trusting our inner compass and knowing that we have the strength to overcome any obstacle that comes our way.
It sounds like self-compassion is a big part of resilience. Being kind to ourselves when we stumble, remembering that we're all works in progress and that it's okay to make mistakes.
Exactly. And here's something to remember. Authenticity doesn't mean perfection.
Okay.
It's about embracing our imperfections,
Right.
our quirks and our unique perspectives. It's those imperfections that make us relatable, interesting, and ultimately human.
I think a lot of us struggle with this idea of perfection.
I agree.
Especially in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with images of airbrushed bodies and seemingly perfect lives.
Right.
It's easy to forget that what we see on social media is often a carefully curated version of reality.
It's so important to remember that everyone has flaws and imperfections, even those people who seem to have it all together.
Yeah.
And it's in those imperfections that we find our true beauty and our connection to one another.
It's like those Japanese kintsugi bowls.
Yes.
Where they repair broken pottery with gold. The cracks and imperfections become part of the art,
right,
making each piece even more beautiful and unique. We can do the same with our own lives.
Yeah.
Embracing our flaws and seeing them as opportunities for growth and transformation.
Beautiful analogy. And that brings us back to that final question.
Okay.
How can you create more space for authenticity in your own life? What's one small step you can take today to honor your true self and start living a more authentic life?
That's a powerful question for each of us to reflect on.
It is.
Maybe it's finally starting that passion project you've been putting off. Or maybe it's simply setting aside some time each day for quiet reflection and self-care, whatever it is.
Yes.
Trust that you have everything you need within you to embrace your authentic self and make a meaningful impact on the world.
Well said. And remember, authenticity is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous growth.
Yeah.
Self-discovery and the courage to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Embrace the journey. Celebrate your unique gifts. And trust that by being authentically you, you're making the world a more beautiful and vibrant place.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into authenticity.
You're welcome.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
My pleasure.
Remember that your authentic self is a gift to the world.
Yes, it is.
Don't be afraid to share it,